Hello and welcome back to the English Voice Academy. Today, we're diving into a story that's not just about a man, but about a legend whose life is a masterclass in perseverance and hope. You know his name. It's written in golden letters in the history of cinema. He's the man who made the whole world laugh while hiding his own tears. We're talking about Sir Charles Spencer Chaplin, the one and only Charlie Chaplin. No one, absolutely no one, can match his greatness. His work is timeless, his comedy is universal, and his life is a powerful lesson in never giving up. Even today, decades after his time, he lives in our hearts. His movies still bring joy, and his struggles still inspire. His story will show you that no matter how hard life gets, you must keep going. This isn't just a story, it's a journey of pain, rejection, poverty, success, and immortality. Stick with us until the end, because this incredible story is the perfect way to practice your English and get motivated like never before. Are you ready? Let's begin. Charlie Chaplin was born in the heart of London, England, on April 16, 1889. His parents, Hannah and Charles Chaplin Sr., were both performers. They lived for the stage, entertaining crowds with their music and theater. But young Charlie's life had a different plan. His father, an alcoholic, abandoned the family when Charlie was just a little boy. His mother, Hannah, was left to raise two children, Charlie and his older half-brother, Sidney, all on her own. Life was not kind to them. They lived in extreme, unbearable poverty. Sometimes there was no food on the table, and Charlie had to go to bed hungry. His mother would sometimes pretend to eat just so her children could have a little more. They moved from one small, dirty room to another, always in fear of being thrown out. But Charlie was a child, and no matter how hard life was, he always found a way to smile. Hannah was a talented singer and actress. Charlie loved watching her perform. He'd sit backstage, mesmerized, dreaming of the day he could stand in front of an audience, too. But then, fate struck. One terrible night, while performing, Hannah lost her voice. She tried to sing, but nothing came out. The audience booed and shouted for her to leave the stage. Then, something magical happened. A little boy, just 5 years old, walked onto the stage. It was Charlie. He picked up the microphone, sang, and danced. The crowd roared with laughter and cheered. That was the first time Charlie performed in front of an audience, the first time he felt the magic of making people laugh. Deep inside, he knew, this is what I was born to do. But life remained cruel. After years of poverty and sadness, Charlie's mother lost her mind and was sent to a mental hospital. Charlie and his brother were left alone, with no family, no money, and nowhere to go. They became street children, wandering, begging, and fighting for survival. Imagine that, a small boy, cold and hungry, walking the streets of London, looking through trash cans for food. That was Charlie Chaplin. But did he give up? No. Did he lose hope? Never. He kept going because he had a dream, and my friends, this is where his real journey began. The first steps towards the spotlight. Charlie and his brother were forced to live in workhouses, terrible places where the poor worked for food and shelter. Charlie was only 7 when he first entered one. Imagine a child, so small and innocent, being thrown into a world of hard labor and pain. He was separated from his brother, and when he finally saw his mother again, she was even sicker. Her mind was slipping away, and sometimes, she didn't even recognize him. Charlie was truly alone, but even in his pain, he had a powerful dream. To perform, to be on stage, just like his mother. He wanted to make people laugh and bring joy to a world that had been so cruel to him. He knew he had to fight for his dream. He started taking small jobs, washing dishes, delivering newspapers, and even working as a toy maker. But his heart was always on the stage. Then, one day, he saw a group of street performers. "This is my chance," he thought. He joined them, performing on the streets, singing, dancing, and doing small comedy acts. At first, no one noticed. But Charlie didn't give up. He kept performing, kept improving, and slowly, people started to stop and watch. They started to laugh, and for the first time, Charlie felt a magical power. He could make people happy. At the age of 14, Charlie got a huge opportunity. He was hired by a theater group called the 8 Lancashire Lads. He worked harder than anyone, learning every move and every trick. His talent shined. A director saw him and said, "This boy is special. He's different." Charlie was given bigger roles, and at 16, he landed his first major part in a play called Sherlock Holmes. He was no longer just a street performer, he was a real actor, performing in front of big audiences. People loved him. His expressions, his movements, his ability to make people feel emotions without saying a word, it was all unique. Then, in 1910, something happened that would change his life forever. Hollywood came calling. Charlie was invited to join a famous comedy troupe that performed in America. This was his chance. America was where dreams came true. He packed his bags and set off on a ship, crossing the ocean toward his future. When he arrived, everything felt different. He knew one thing: this is where I belong. This is where I will become a star. The Tramp and the Rise of a Legend. In 1913, a film company called Keystone Studios noticed Charlie and gave him a small role in a silent film. He saw an opportunity to create something unforgettable. And so, he created a character, a small man in oversized clothes, a tight coat, a funny little hat, a tiny mustache, and the most famous walk in the world, the Tramp. This character would become one of the most iconic figures in cinema history. At first, people didn't understand the Tramp. But when Charlie performed, when he moved and made people laugh without saying a single word, the world fell in love. His films became popular, studios offered him huge amounts of money, and in just a few years, the poor boy from London had become the biggest star in the world. By 1917, Charlie Chaplin was a phenomenon. People stood in long lines to watch his movies. He was loved in every country, every language, and every culture, but behind all the fame and laughter, Charlie was still the same boy who had once starved on the streets and cried for his mother. He never forgot his past. Now, he wanted more. He didn't just want to act, he wanted to control everything: the stories, the direction, the music, the emotions. He wanted to make movies his way. Hollywood didn't like that. At the time, actors were controlled by studios, but Charlie Chaplin was different. In 1918, he did something that shocked the whole industry. He built his own studio, Chaplin Studios. Now, he was his own boss. He could create whatever he wanted, and no one could stop him. This was a game-changer. In 1921, he released The Kid, a movie that would become one of the most legendary films of all time. It wasn't just a comedy, it was his story, a story of a poor man and an orphaned boy, about hunger, struggle, and love. It was funny, but also deeply emotional. The whole world fell in love with it. Charlie realized that movies were not just entertainment, they were powerful. They could change lives, and he was going to use them to change the world. The power of silent film and the fight for humanity. With every movie, Charlie became more powerful. Studios were paying actors $10 a week, but Charlie was earning $1 million per movie. He became the richest and most powerful actor in the world. And yet, he never forgot his past. He still remembered the days he had nothing to eat. He worked harder than anyone, spending months, even years, on a single film. Every little movement, every small joke, every tiny detail, he planned everything. He didn't just want to make movies, he wanted to make history. At the late 1920s, a new kind of movie had arrived, films with sound. Silent films were dying, and everyone told Charlie to make talking films. But he refused. He said, "Movies don't need words. Emotions are more powerful than words." In 1931, when everyone thought silent movies were dead, he released City Lights. It was one of the most emotional and beautiful films ever made. Even without dialogue, people cried watching it. The final scene is one of the greatest moments in film history. With this movie, Charlie proved that emotions speak louder than words. By the late 1930s, the world was changing again. Adolf Hitler was rising to power, spreading hate, war, and fear. Charlie noticed that Hitler had the same mustache as him, and people started making comparisons. So, Charlie made a decision: he would use his comedy to fight against Hitler. In 1940, he made his first talking movie, The Great Dictator. It wasn't just a comedy, it was a powerful message to the world. In the final scene, Charlie gives a speech that is still one of the most famous in history. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. Let us fight for a world of reason. Let us fight for freedom. The world listened. Charlie was no longer just a comedian. He was a fighter and a voice for the people, but Hollywood didn't like this. Charlie was too powerful and independent, and some people didn't like his political messages. So, they turned against him, spreading lies and accusing him of things he never did. In 1952, they forced him to leave America. Heartbroken, Charlie moved to Switzerland. He stopped making movies and lived a quiet life with his family. But the world never forgot him. Then, in 1972, after 20 years, Hollywood realized its mistake. They invited Charlie back. At the Oscars, they gave him a 12-minute standing ovation, the longest in history. Even after everything, Charlie had one. He wasn't just an actor, he was a legend. A legacy of laughter, love, and perseverance. Charlie's life teaches us one thing: never give up. No matter how hard life gets, no matter how poor you are, no matter how many people try to stop you, if you have a dream, fight for it. Charlie was a homeless boy with nothing, but he became the most loved man in the world. But behind all the fame and success, his personal life was full of struggles. People betrayed him, and governments turned against him. Even after his death, something shocking happened. His love life was complicated, and his first 3 marriages failed. But then, in 1943, when he was 54, he met Una O'Neill, who was just 18. People said she was too young, but for the first time, Charlie had found true love. Una became the most important person in his life. She stood by him when the world turned against him, and they had 8 children together. For the first time, Charlie had a real family. He spent his final 25 years in a beautiful, peaceful house in Switzerland, writing, reading, and playing with his kids. He would walk in his garden, thinking about his past, his struggles, and his incredible journey. He would even watch his old movies and laugh. On Christmas Day, December 25, 1977, Charlie Chaplin passed away in his sleep at the age of 88. The world went silent. A man who had made billions of people laugh was gone, but then, 3 months after his death, something unbelievable happened. A group of thieves broke into his grave, dug up his coffin, and stole his body. They demanded a ransom from his family, but his wife, Una, refused, saying Charlie would have laughed at this situation. After a huge police investigation, the thieves were caught. They were 2 poor men who had stolen the body to escape poverty. Charlie's body was returned to his family and reburied in a cement-covered grave so no one could ever steal him again. Even though Charlie Chaplin died in 1977, he is still alive. Every time we laugh, he is there. He taught us that life is not just about money and success, it's about laughter, love, and never giving up. Even when he had nothing, he never lost hope. Even when the world turned against him, he never stopped fighting. Charlie Chaplin is not just a name, he is an emotion. He is the greatest comedian in history, and his story will inspire generations to come. So, if he can do it, so can you. Dream big, work hard, and one day, your story will inspire the world. Charlie Chaplin's story is over, but his lessons, his movies, and his spirit will live forever. If you loved this story, share it with the world, because his message must never be forgotten, and always remember his most famous words: a day without laughter is a day wasted. Thank you, Charlie. We will never forget you.